Alrighty guys, I am going to show you how to use a new app. So this app is called Autodesk Sketchbook. You should have downloaded this at the beginning of the year. If not, go into self-service and re-download it. And so you're going to type in Sketchbook and self-service, and it is this one, the orange one, that's going to pop up. So you're going to open that. Now, when you open it, you're going to go to a new sketch. And where it says width and height, I want you to hit presets. You're going to tap the 1824 because if we flip that on its side, that is the size of the screen that we should be using in iMovie for our SD videos. So then you're going to hit create. If you're working on something else, you'll want to go there. So it's going to take us to this screen. Today, I just want you to play around with the different options. So I'm going to show you a couple different tips and tricks on Autodesk Sketchbook, and we will get into deeper stuff later on, but starting with the basics. So first, this little guy here in the right hand corner, this is where you can select the color, of course, and so you can use a color wheel, or you can use these, or whatever your heart tells you. Just drag it around, make whatever you want. This, if you tap the brush, it brings up all these different brushes. Now, as you see on the left hand side of the screen, they have a lot of the basic brushes there as well. So we have a pencil, we have a chisel brush, we have an airbrush, we have a pen. So all sorts of different things that you can play with. But there's more than just these guys. If you can either tap this and tap it again, and it'll bring up the library. I find the easiest way just to tap over here on the right side. If you type right above the color, it gives you all these different things. And when you tap on them, it tells you what they are, and then also gives you a little image of what it looks like. Now, the smudge pen and the textured eraser kind of give it this texture look where that, or you have a charcoal blend, so you can use this to blend charcoal together, a chocolate pastel. So you have all these kind of basic ones. Then as you keep going, you find fancier and fancier things. And then the texture part I think is really cool because it gives you these cool textures to kind of play around with. Or you can get down here and there's paintbrushes, and you can play around with the paintbrushes. So all sorts of different things you can play with. Or then you can even go in and draw on some patterns, or you have crazy textures like this. So there's lots of fun things in here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tap over here. If I tap this where the little bitty picture of my canvas, if over on the right, if you tap that, I can hit clear and clear all of it at once. Now this right hand bar, toolbar, this is the layer bar, and this is really, really important while we're using this format. And we'll get to that a little bit, but when I talk about layers or adding a layer or copying and pasting layer, it's everything that's over here on this right hand toolbar. Now let's say you want to fill the entire place with this pink. So you tap that little paint bucket up at the top, and maybe you want it to actually fill, and you can just tap there. Now I'm like, don't like the color, let's change that. And you can change like how far it goes, or maybe you can't. What do I know? Not much apparently. Oh, but okay, here we go. That makes more sense. You can tap here and change what color it fades to. So you can kind of mess around with that if you want to. Or you got this guy, a radial fill. Lots of fun things to play around with. But again, I'm going to clear this layer. Let's say I want to use like a watercolor brush. So I'm going to tap the brushes. I have a coarse watercolor. Yeah, sure. Let's do a coarse watercolor. Now, I'm like, oh, that's going to take me a while to fill if I use that brush. I can tap this lever over here on the left-hand side of the screen and drag it all the way up, and then it's way bigger. Let's try that again. It's way bigger. There we go. And then I can kind of get this consistent look all over it. And you can also layer colors. Now, let's say I'm really, really happy with how this looks. If I was to, let's say I'm like, you know what, I want to play with like the purple, and I wanted to add purple over, but then I didn't like it. If I tried to erase it from here, it would erase everything that was underneath. But if I don't really want it to erase the pink. So I'm actually going to add a layer, and then from there, play around with the colors that I add over it. And then I can decide if I like it or not, and if I don't like it, boop, clear, or I can erase from there, and then my pink underneath is totally safe. I, as y'all know, am doing the book about Max that I read. So there, he spends a lot of time outside when it's really dark. So I'm going to come up with a night sky color. And let's see. I'm actually just going to start with a fountain pen. A couple more techniques that you can do. So first of all, if I want this entire bottom to be covered in this dark color, actually I'm going to restart. We're going to start a touch lighter. Okay, so I want from here to here to be filled with this color blue. I'm going to seal off all the edges just like this. I'm going to tap the fill, and then there. And you can just tap around, tap a couple times so you can play with the tolerance till it looks right. Now I'm going to go a little bit darker. And I'm just going to do this. You can draw it in if you want to. I'm just being lazy. And when you're done, make sure you always untap that, or else it'll keep going. I don't think that messed up what I wanted it to do. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So I'm going to keep coloring. And I make it a little darker. And then I'm going to go even darker, one more. And then I'm going to fill this in. Okay. So now that I have that, I'm going to show you this fun little tool that we have called the smudging brush. So you tap on here, and this guy right here, the smudge pen. The smudge pen is wherever you put your pen first and then strike it up, it's going to take that color next. So if I start on this bottom color and I drag it down, it's going to pull the blue onto the white. But if I push up from the lightest blue into the darker blue, it's going to drag some of that lighter blue up. So now I just want to blend all these together. Right now, so see, I'm really not seeing that much of it. There we go. I got to press a little harder. If you have an iPhone, an iPen, an Apple Pencil, you'll want to kind of press a little harder. If you are using a stylus or your finger, you won't have to press as hard. It's going to just be one touch. But see how I'm kind of blending these things together, kind of dragging some of this darker down. I'm getting some white over there, so I'm going to go over there and mix that up a little bit. And we're just going to go in and smush all these together. Now, you totally don't have to do anything this fancy. I mean, art people, don't laugh at me too hard. But you can just play around, get the vibe that you want. Remember, if you don't like something you do, there's always the undo button, which is one of the reasons I recommend kind of doing shorter strokes instead of all one stroke, because then you can just hit undo if you need to. And then we have this nice kind of gradient situation. So you can do that if you want to. So that's something you can kind of play around with. Or if you're like, I just want solid colors for my background, totally can. But I wanted y'all to have a chance to kind of play around with all the different pens. There's lots of different fun textures and things on here. So today you're going to give me 3 different backgrounds that you think you would like. See, you also get used to some of them. Some of them don't really drag, whereas others totally drag. And you can kind of tell that by the line up there under the name. And kind of start to pay close attention to the names, because we will be doing projects later on with some of these names where you kind of have to pay a little bit of attention. Whatever you're playing around with, there are settings here, and you can also click and drag. So if you want to drag a little further, you can go like that. Strength makes it darker here. And if you're like, I don't know what I did, just hit reset, and it puts it right back to what it was originally. So today I want you to make me one background that you might use for your book. It can't be one solid color. If I tell you that you can't do one solid color, I want you to go ahead and give me an option. Something, let's say, you are doing a book about a little kitten. Let's find pink, and then I'm actually going to tone it down. Perfect. I'm going to fill my bottom layer pink. Now I'm going to go up to the top layer, and I'm going to use a circle here. And I want to fill my circle with a slightly darker pink. Oh no. Okay, I'm going to undo again and redraw my circle. Ah, okay. So first thing I'm going to do is make my slightly darker pink. There we go. Then I'm going to draw my circle. Then, let's see how it was selected with the brush. So I'm going to hit undo. I'm going to change my brush. If I'm wanting a really steady one, this ink pen, the fountain pen's really good. Okay, so here we go. Let's try this again. There we go. And then I really don't like the size of it, so I'm going to make fill. So now I have that. But, okay, so another trick that I can do. It'll make more sense when you'll see what I'm going for, I promise. Now, when we get to this layer, you see this red opacity? Remember, that's how see-through something is, so we can kind of fade that out a little bit. That's not what I wanted. But I don't know, it's just something to play with. You could maybe make this like the background of your, like if you're wanting to show an animal off or something, you're kind of giving them like a little background. Not that again. Okay. But, so you can give me something like that if you want to, or let's say, so another handy little tool. If you're not sure if you like something, you don't want to get rid of it, but you don't want to see it, just tap that little eye and it's hidden. Maybe I'm going to use a watercolor. Close. Make sure you add another layer. So I have that. Maybe that's what I want my stuff to be on. So play around with it. The only trick is what you're turning into me cannot only have one solid color on it. Have tons of fun with the texture if you want to. I'm going to show y'all some more of these. I really like these textures. I like playing around with those, but see how little it is. Let's make it a little way bigger. No, come on. There we go. And you just kind of click and drag so you can have fun with that. I just want y'all to start thinking about what you want the background of your books to do. And maybe you don't want it to be just like this. Maybe like you have an animal crawling along some hills or something. So I showed y'all how to make it flat. I showed y'all how to blend some colors if you want to. So again, to blend some colors, you start with one color and then you add another. I'm going to make that way bigger. So I'm going to color that in. Then go here, make it a little darker, color it in, make it a little darker, and then a little darker. Then you can go in with a smudge pen and smudge away. So I hope y'all have fun with this. It's just a new skill we're learning. We're going to be utilizing this a little bit more. So today you're just playing with the simple stuff of playing with the colors and the backgrounds and making stuff look not like super boring. So we're going to see, I'm going to drag this color down here a little bit. Just get rid of that hard edge. Yay. Okay, now I'm going to go back over everything sideways and smooth it all together. Have fun. Remember, you're sending something to me that is not one flat color. It may be just an idea. This is just really to practice the work using sketchbooks. So give me something that you think you might be able to use in your final product when we start using the stop motion green screen to put our book characters into a place that we can't necessarily create right now with the tools that we got. Let me guys know if you have any questions. There's also a ton of great tutorials on YouTube, so have fun looking at those. Have a great day.